You're listening to Jesus, Charlie. Welcome. I think this is episode 9 now, first clip. It's a Saturday morning, well, Saturday afternoon. It's like 1 o'clock. Yeah, 1:05 p.m. Charlie and I are out for a little walk. Just trying to kind of kill time. It's supposed to be a nice day today. It was like cold and rainy yesterday. In fact, I had to I have a special outfit that I wear when it's cold and rainy, because I don't want to have to sit in wet clothes all day while I'm working. So I've devised an outfit that's like expendable. It's basically just like the least amount of clothes I can wear, and then I put all my good clothes in my backpack, and then I'll bike to work and get really, really wet. Pray to God that the water doesn't soak into my backpack, and then change when I get to work. So did that yesterday, and the bad weather is supposed to be heading out, although it's still kind of overcast, so I guess we're not quite there yet. But I guess it's all relative, because I also heard this morning on the radio about this cyclone that went through some, Pacific island or something like that. Charlie, what are you doing? He's just stopped in the middle of the road, and he's looking at something as if there's something specific that would make him stop, but I don't see anything, so come on, Charlie. Some sort of a Pacific storm, a cyclone, they called it. And they said that there were winds in excess of 170 miles an hour, which is insane to even think about. Because I almost get blown over with winds that are like 30 mile gusts, you know. That's hard to stay upright when you get hit by one of those. So something that's 130 miles faster than that, that's devastating. I can't even imagine what that would be like. And it's just another one of those things that just makes it seem like, what functionality does this have? Why, if the world were created by some sort of divine mind, what sort of utility does 170 mile per hour gust have? This is kind of ridiculous. Just wrap your mind around. So, good weather, hopefully for us, is coming. And again, I'm trying to kill a little bit of time taking Charlie for a walk so that I can wait for the shorts that I wore yesterday in my expendable outfit to dry, because they've been washed now and they're not quite there. Woke up this morning. I've been I don't feel sick, but I feel a little immunocompromised, a little bit. Could be courtesy of Erica. I didn't really try to stay away from her or anything when she was sick, because her sickness didn't really seem that bad. I was sick not too long ago, and it was pretty awful. Basically just wanted to kind of, I think I've already talked about this, but I just felt like what it felt like when you come to the end of your life, I think, where you just want to kind of give up and you say, okay, I've played my hand, I've done what I came here to do, and I'm ready to go. It's just like no energy, no will to live. Your body just kind of aches. And Erica's sickness didn't seem that bad, so I wasn't afraid to get close to her if and when I caught it. But last night my kidneys felt a little sore. They were kind of pulsing with my heart a little bit, which might be a good song title, Pulsing with My Heart. And this morning my throat is a little scratchy. I feel like there's a slight mental fog, but I have plans today. I want to do things, especially if the weather's supposed to be nice. I'm trying to get out there, do what I want to do. I've got plans. I want to do a few things. First, I don't know if this will actually be first, but one of the things I want to do is to buy a pair of drumsticks from Earth Shaking Music, and so I want to bike there. And that's probably approximately 5 to 5.5 miles away. And from there, I want to go play drums at my sister's place, which is where my drum set is located. Been having a hankering to do that because it's been a while since I had a good pair of drumsticks and was able to really shred on the drums just for an hour or so, drink tea, maybe consult with Grandpa, things that can always make drumming that much more intense. And I really just want to get into some grooves and just sort of repeat this stuff, do some breakbeat style drumming, and then do these little fills in between the main break beat. Something I was doing last week with some shitty sticks that Lauren and Delane have that are basically just my old sticks that have broken. But you know, you get a good pair of Vic Firth 7A or 7B size drumsticks and you can go to town on those. Wood tipped, please. None of that nylon stuff. Don't want it, don't need it. That's one thing I want to do. I'd also like to maybe play music with Ben Wills. Shout out to Ben Wills. Also maybe like to go to Hodgepodge and play guitar. I've got a really good Alvarez guitar there, so it's cool to go up there, grab some coffee or some tea, let that course through you as you play. It always opens up sort of a new area that you may not have been able to go to, either in terms of technique, which definitely, if you're caffeinated, I think your technique might increase by 5 to 10% in terms of like fluidity and skillfulness. But then also, that little added boost of caffeine, I think, brings out a little bit more creativity, at least some stuff. You might do a few things that you hadn't thought about, or you'll find something that might sort of combine two ideas more cohesively or something. I'm trying to make sure this recorder, I've been using these same batteries for quite a while now, and I've done lots of Territories recordings, and I've done lots of Jesus Charlie recordings. And the batteries have been at the low mark, like the little battery tick for a while. And I don't want to accidentally lose anything. So I'm trying to keep an eye on that, because earlier today when I was deleting some old Jesus Charlie clips from my recorder that have already been made into an episode, it looked like the batteries had gotten to the point where they were actually blinking, which is, I think, the last sign that they're like going to die soon. But that hasn't happened since I started recording this, so I don't know, it's kind of weird. Very inconsistent. And again, as you might remember from recent Territories episodes, the battery meter actually went up one tick one day. So it started at the lowest, one little battery hash mark, and then during the course of the day it actually went up. And I claimed that was due to the solar rays that were hitting the recorder and imbuing to it a bit more energy. Lindsay didn't believe it, but to me it seems like a solid hypothesis for something that could be the case, or perhaps this recorder just has a really bad sensor, or it's just not very sensitive, or okay, well, I've already given a bunch of other hypotheses that could explain it just as well, if not better, without having to say that energy from the sun was repowering these batteries. Come on, Charlie. So anyway, I'm just keeping that in mind. But today, I mean, I would like to do a decent bike ride. I would definitely like to get 20 miles in, if possible. But I also really want to be doing some musical stuff today, which those can sometimes be at odds, because I can play music for a long time, especially if I'm planning on doing some solo drumming and playing with Ben. That's potential 2+ hours that won't be spent biking. But they're both exertive, and they're both sort of creative and not necessarily creative, but I feel it seems to stimulate the same kind of part of my brain where I just feel like free, I guess. So if I have to compromise some of those miles today, that's okay. Especially, I guess, if I am getting sick, which I wouldn't say I'm getting sick. I don't know if I'll get full-fledged sick with this. I think it's just like, my immune system is at 85%. It's fighting it off. And so it's like more just annoying, you know? Good boy, Cho-Cho. So I'm not too worried about that. And I am excited about playing music because I got really into some stuff yesterday. I played guitar. It was Friday night. I did some reorganization throughout the house, and Erica was pretty busy doing a loom that she's doing. And then I got in the mood. Some people.
We're friendly.
Okay. Say hey, Charlie.
Hey.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah.
This is DOG. He says
DOG.
Oh, you're freaking out a little bit, dude.
He's not the most social dog. Little Charlie.
Some love there. Hey, buddy. How are you? Aw, a little too close for comfort.
Yeah.
Bye.
You guys enjoy. Some fellow dog enthusiasts. So yeah, I played guitar for, I want to say it was like an hour and a half or 2 hours last night. And I was just kind of working. I've got like a catalog of riffs that I made, and they're all just in my head. I've never really done anything with them, but I'd say I probably have like 20 or so solid riffs that I've been playing for years and years. And I don't know how to play very many songs, like actual songs that are known. I never really learned it. With my friends, we always would just play music and we would just make stuff up. We were never into doing covers or learning songs, so that was never really my forte, and I never really found it all that fun because, it's a lot of discipline to sit down and learn a song, and not that I didn't do it. I mean, I know maybe a handful of songs still by heart. I know Metallica, Master of Puppets, which that's like an 8-minute song, and I wouldn't be able to play it all faithfully 8 minutes, but I definitely know a few parts of it by heart still. But I've always just enjoyed just kind of playing and improvising and just seeing what comes out, especially if you get other people and you're just kind of playing off each other. Like my friends, we were never all that technical, so we never really, we wouldn't be like, okay, this song's in B flat, so let's go ahead and do that or anything. Charlie just pooped on this trail, so I'm going to try to find a stick and scoop it off the path, because I'm not picking this up. Okay, this is somewhat effective. I still gotta not flick it in my own face. Alright, cool. So yeah, we've got a history of just kind of jamming out, and so I have all these riffs, and I was playing with them last night. It was a lot of fun, and I think I was inspired to play. Charlie, what are you doing, man? Come on. I've been watching this series of videos with this female drummer from Japan. I think her name is Senri Kawaguchi. She's an amazing drummer, and can do a ton of different styles, jazz and rock, and I was watching this video, what's it called? It's like Lover Come Back to Me, I think. And I think it's, I don't remember who it is originally. It's like some famous soul singer. I don't remember her name, but I guess it's just like an interpretation of the melody of that song or something, but it was an amazing song. And it's been a little while since I've listened to music where the musicianship is just so tight. I was really into like jazz rock for a little while, like Weather Report and Pat Metheny to a degree, although I couldn't really get into that too much because it was just a little bit too, I don't know, too one-dimensional, really. This is kind of how I felt about it. I didn't listen to too much, but I listened to a few albums, and just like Weather Report was a lot more moody and a lot more expressive, in my opinion. Got another dog. And so I just enjoyed that more, connected with it more. I liked all the musicians more. Jaco Pastorius. Geez, I'm kind of forgetting their names now. Jaco Pastorius, Joseph Zawinul. They had a series of drummers. Peter Erskine. Another one who slips my mind. I don't remember. Oh, and obviously the what's his name? Jeez, yeah. I guess I didn't. That little stint in my life of listening to Weather Report wasn't quite strong enough to completely devote all of that to the most permanent type of memory. What was that guy's name? Who did the oboe or clarinet or saxophonist? Who is that? I don't remember his name right now. This is the second time I've recorded myself not remembering someone's name. Mark Rothko, though, I got that one down for sure. Anyway, though, watching all these musicians really play their instruments really well, it's always a little bit inspiring because, if you play music, it's like, wow, these people, they've devoted so much time and effort to learning everything that they know about their instrument. And I was also watching Jojo Mayer yesterday. I was listening to these videos while I was working, and he's a drummer who's kind of taken dubstep type music, kind of, and he does it. He plays it with acoustic instruments. Well, they're electric, but I mean they're not like programmed or anything like that. It's all live music, but it sounds really cool. And he's an amazing drummer who is extremely technical. And I was watching some thing he was doing with another bassist that I'd never heard of, and I looked him up. And so I was just watching all these videos of him talking about all these practice routines he does. Like, I do like bass a lot. I'm kind of surprised I don't have one. But he was talking about this routine where he would like use a loop pedal and play major triads over minor chords, I think. And so he was playing all these like jazzy sounding minor chords that are all inverted and strange and sound really cool. And it's like very it's not the type of music you would hear on the radio. It's like very complex. Like it's a chord that is just like, if it was like in a popular song, it would just kind of strike a note with people and they'd be like, this is kind of, it's challenging to listen to, I think. But I like it because I can appreciate the difficulty that goes into being able to comprehensively like create this type of music. So I was watching all that, listening to him talk about the routines he was doing. It's like an 18-minute video. While still doing work, calm down. I would just, listen to it, and then I'd focus on what I was doing, pause it if I needed to, but still working. And so all this stuff sort of culminated last night. I was like, man, I want to play some music, play some guitar, play some drums. I don't think any of my friends have bass, at least not a bass that I have access to or anything like that, but it's left sort of a lasting impression on me. I'm excited to play music in some capacity today. I may not actually be able to play with Den, which would be too bad because he's a really good musician to play with, very creative, very technically savvy. He's a chemo savvy. Chemo-sabi. And so we'll see. No matter what, I know I'm glad I have like my own fallback plan of things that I can do that I'm completely in control of, in terms of like, they're just merely things I need to get to. Like all I need to do is go get drumsticks and then go to my sister's house and then go to Hodgepodge, etc. And maybe I'll go for another walk with Charlie. It's nice to keep him active. I feel like I've kind of neglected him for a while since it's been winter. I've been going on bike rides a lot, which kind of makes me not so apt to take him for long walks because it kind of uses up the same time on the weekend that I used to just spend walking with him. I used to go for long walks, like 8 to 10 mile walks with Charlie, and those would keep him tired for like 2 hours after we got back. Not very long. Passing by some people. I was walking on a bit of a path that was like pulled away from the road and not so noisy or people filled. But now I'm back here on like the path ended, and now I'm in a neighborhood. It's pretty residential, and so there's people everywhere. And again, it's just like don't want to be walking by talking to myself. Just, I don't think they actually care, but for some reason my own self imposes a feeling of strangeness onto me. Charlie. And so I'd rather just do without that and stay silent for a moment. Let's see. Tomorrow, I'm going to be meeting with Lindsay. I'm excited about that. It's supposed to be a really, really nice day tomorrow. And I need to be careful because I don't want to get sunburnt, because when we did territories last week, I got really sunburnt, and I don't like that. I don't think that's good for you to get sunburnt in terms of skin health and stuff. Got a guy coming with trees. How's it going? We're going to be exploring a new part of the Beltline over, I guess it would be like the Northwest Corridor, is what I want to keep calling it. It's like over off of Peachtree, and it is an area that I've gone on before. Never really much by foot, but Erica did go to the doctor over there, Piedmont Hospital or something, to get a physical not too long ago, and I couldn't stay in the examination room with her, so I went for a little walk after she got called in and went down that path. And so I think it'll be nice to go over there, just because it'll be a new area, place we haven't been before. The seasons are changing, so it seems appropriate to just kind of explore a little bit more. It'll probably not be as crowded. I guess what I need to start looking into is like which direction I want to go and how we're gonna maneuver, because I would like to see some areas of that path that I haven't seen before, but I don't really remember how to navigate all that stuff. Angel knows it by heart, and he's always the best go-to tour guide for those kind of things, because he knows where the path drops off and becomes like unfollowable, and where it picks back up. And so for me, I'm just worried that we'll go over there and the obvious part of the Beltline will be obvious, but like how you stay going where you want to go, that might be a little bit more difficult. But we've got smartphones, we can figure something out, at least approximately. If nothing else, we'll just walk back and forth, I suppose, and maybe we'll even walk up to Peachtree itself, just for a little different flavor entirely. So I guess that's kind of it for now. Charlie? I didn't really know exactly what the topic of conversation would be for this walk, but I felt like I had enough in me from everything this morning to be able to maneuver through a decent-sized Jesus Charlie clip. And I think that we have reached the natural conclusion of that. So for now, I think I'm going to take a right here, maybe. I need to look down this road, make sure that's where I want to go. And we'll get back to you sometime later this week. Thanks for listening. You're listening to Jesus Charlie. It is Wednesday, March 17th. It's about 10:10 p.m. Charlie and I are here. Charlie, come on. Going for a little brief walk. It's supposed to rain tonight. Rain tomorrow all day. So it's going to be a wet day for me, I'm sure. Come on, Charlie. You're getting yourself all caught up in your leash. Come on, let's go. All right, Charlie, you can do it. This way. This way. So I thought it might be good to get out, since this might be the last time I can easily make a clip before the rain comes. Tomorrow I have to go to sign some papers. My parents recently switched their bank account from the bank that they bank with, I suppose, from SunTrust to BB&T. And they said that I should do the same, and I don't have any real allegiance, so might as well. Talked to somebody a couple days ago about doing it, and it seems like it's a smart choice, given my position right now. So, pardon the noise of bags. So, tomorrow morning, I have to get up a little bit early and get over to Peachtree Street so that my sister and I can sign some papers. Not really excited, although kind of half excited for the novelty of it, to wake up tomorrow early. Kind of, anytime you wake up early, if I don't have to do it very often, like if it's sporadic, it kind of reminds me of like going on vacation or something. So even though I don't really like the idea of getting up tomorrow at like 7, like an hour or so before I normally would get up, it is kind of exciting because I know I'll have extra time. I can do my little push-up routine. I can drink some coffee. I like to make an egg sandwich. Next time I go to the store, too, I think I'm going to get some avocados and start making egg and avocado sandwiches to take to work with me. Which I guess segues into work. Today, I had a meeting. We have weekly meetings at the place that I work. And I guess, actually, yeah, I was going to talk about a little thing that happened today at work, but in the interest of keeping work separate from, I guess, this in terms of privacy and what's smart to talk about, perhaps I should keep it to myself until it's a little bit more ironed out. So for now, we'll just say that I had a conversation, and I'll fill you in 6 months. Come on, Charlie. So for now, Charlie and I are out walking. Don't really know what to talk about. The weekend review episode most recently that was put out, I edited and recorded that. Not that that's a huge feat. It was pretty easy to do. It was basically just like doing territories, but I guess Lindsay wasn't there and Jake was. And so I've been thinking a lot about what we're going to do for the live show. I'm not really sure how that's going to go. Definitely want it to be funny. Definitely want it to be entertaining. Definitely want everyone to be on their second beer for the show. So, you know, they can get there. We can have a little bit of a, hey, how you doing kind of thing. Everyone can start drinking their first beer. Charlie, what are you doing? And then by the time we start, I would like to have everyone simultaneously open their second beer. And so you just hear like this chorus of like all that stuff happening. I think that would be a cool little effect. And, you know, it's a little nerve-wracking. I've actually been listening to, like, live performances of Comedy Bang Bang with a little bit more intention and a little bit more attention as well. Charlie, you about to poop on the sidewalk? Why? Why on the sidewalk? Jeez, Charlie. Not something I necessarily want to pick up, but also not something I want to leave for the average person to step on. So let's pick up this stick, work a little bit of magic here. Charlie, let's see what we can do. Charlie, stop. This is difficult. Podcasting while cleaning up dog shit. Alright, I'm basically just scooping this from one section of the sidewalk to another so that no one accidentally steps on it. This is pretty gross. Alright, so far so good. Got about 20%. Let's get the rest. Gross. Okay, got about 50%. And let's get that last 50. Using the backboard of the sidewalk. Trying to, yes, got it all. Sweet. Now, let's walk on, Charlie. Thanks for helping me out there, listener. Weekend review, live show's been on my mind. And I've even had a lot of thoughts about like where I want to take Jesus Charlie. Because I feel like the live show will be sort of not necessarily a turning point, but I feel like it will be an interesting thing for me to gauge how much I enjoy performing something like Weekend Review that's like comedy oriented in front of a group of people. Because I've never really liked being in front of people. I never really have liked performing. A lot of my friends, I would maybe say all my friends, all my close friends, have all been performers. Here comes a big truck. Let's pause for the truck. Passing by the Schwann factory, which has probably probably 50 trucks a week or so in and out, maybe more than that. I'm not sure. They've always got big trucks coming through. Kind of messes with the road, I think, in terms of like the road's integrity. Big heavy trucks coming through all the time. There's some issues on this road, potholes and leaky water mains that have to have big sheets of metal put over them so that they can like access the area that's broken and then I guess eventually fix it and repave it. But anyway, I think I was talking about Jesus Charlie. Or no, my friend's performing. I've never really enjoyed that. It definitely makes me really nervous to be in front of people and to be like the sort of the focus of the attention. I don't like that. I think it kind of stems from when I first started to learn how to play guitar. I had a friend who was playing guitar before I was, and watching him, and then having a cousin who also plays guitar, I wanted to learn how to play it. But watching my friend play, he would make all these faces and like get really into it. And I get really into it when I play music, but I always endeavored like to never make faces, just because looking at people as they play instruments and make their faces just kind of, it's a little bit grotesque to me. It's just like, ugh. Like, it's just kind of gross. These weird contorted faces that you don't make for any other part of your life. And so whenever I would play music, I would always look very like deadpan, very concentrated on what I was doing, but not like, I don't know, my face wouldn't get contorted or anything. And so I think I always sort of became self-conscious about my face after that, and never really enjoyed playing music live. It was always just kind of horrifying and terrifying the whole time, and just had to kind of look away from the audience. So like with Weekend Review Live, I'm not sure where I'll look, but I do think that beer will help. And so I think it'll be overall a success and fun, but not really sure about what we're going to do. And I guess that's the scary part as well, preparation. And you know, I'm kind of in the vein of just being like, well, you know, we're not trying to put on a different show than what we usually do. So we probably shouldn't try to change the formula too much or alter what we're going to do. We should probably just keep it the way it is, and then just be like, hey, sorry, this is what it is, and we appreciate you coming, and we gave you free beer, so hopefully you enjoy. I guess we'll get a head count soon enough and figure out how much beer we need to get, but that kind of bleeds into Jesus Charlie, because I've also been thinking, like, what should Jesus Charlie be? What shouldn't it be? And, you know, Jesus Charlie, I feel like, you know, if I want to do a clip like right now, it's like the few things I have to talk about are the things I've been thinking about, things I've been experiencing. And sometimes I'm like, well, I don't really want to talk about this or that. But then I think, well, you know, why not talk about this or that? I mean, that's all I have to give. And if I try to make it something else, then I'm not really, it's not going to be that honest kind of authenticity that the whole show is supposed to be about. So with Weekend Review and Jesus Charlie, I think they both kind of meld together in that respect, where, you know, I think both shows are at their best when they are at their most improvisation, just like capturing true, honest moments. I think that's the only thing that really makes them compelling. Because you have really convoluted shows that took a lot of planning. Serial, This American Life, all those kind of shows that are more well polished and produced and just have a lot more depth and elements to them. And those are great shows, but I guess they sort of lack a one-on-one kind of aspect to them, I guess. Charlie. The rain is definitely starting to come in. As one who spends a lot of time outside and doesn't have any means of, I guess, refuge from the weather when it gets bad, I feel a little bit more tuned into like the weather patterns and when certain things mean certain things. So like right now, today was warm and sunny, and it was pretty bright outside, not very many clouds, not very much wind. And now, although I do cheat and look at weather.com, now it's a bit more overcast. There's a slight chill in the air, and it's windy. So it doesn't take a genius to figure out that means it's going to rain. But I don't know, I feel it a little bit more acutely, I think, because I think, oh wow, if it's about to rain, I need to figure out what I'm going to do to either accept the fact that I'm about to get wet, or figure out how I can avoid it. So I'm just trying to kind of feel the vibe. I thought I'd have to wear a jacket tonight, for this walk, but actually I'm just wearing my orange vest, which is just as well. Checking the battery levels because batteries are still low. I still haven't actually changed these batteries since first mentioning. Actually, I don't think I've changed these batteries once since I started Jesus Charlie or Territories with Lindsay. And I don't know which came first, Territories or Jesus Charlie, but these batteries have been on their last legs for a long time. Pause for bus. It's an audio tour of large vehicles tonight. So, anyway, batteries, not a very interesting point, but something I'm keeping an eye on. Come on, Charlie. We're about to be crossing by this bridge that I've been going by for a long time, pretty much every day since I have lived here. I have a couple different routes to get to work, and I actually just reverted back to my first route that I ever started with, because the place I work at, they just changed locations, and so I'm a lot closer to work now. I'm like half as close, or twice as close, rather. So I have extra time, so I can go for the more scenic route now, whereas before it had to be purely efficient and economical. But when I was going efficiently and economically to work, I'd go by this bridge, and there was this little area over by the side of the bridge, which is right by the Martis train station that I'm passing by right now. And there was just this huge collection of garbage, obviously curated and collected by humans, but just blankets and shirts and chairs and all this discarded stuff. And it was really gross. And every time I would go by it, I would just think, God, why did in the fuck does someone just not go by and clean this disgusting area? Atlanta is supposed to be a city that's kind of on the rise and getting better, and we're getting all these things like the Beltline and the streetcar and Krog Street Market and the revitalization of Ponce City Market, and all these nice things are coming to the city. And I realize it's a sort of a process. The old cliche that Italy wasn't born in a day holds true. But there's this gross area. We're about to be passing by it, and it's covered in garbage, and it's just like an eyesore. And I would just see it every single day, and I never actually saw anyone living there or relaxing there or doing whatever they did. I guess maybe they only went there at night. But finally, earlier this week, maybe on Monday or something, I was going to work, went by this bridge before I had reverted back to my old path, and there was a big crew of guys and a police car that had stopped traffic and stuff, and they were all cleaning up this area. And I was thinking, Charlie, what are you doing? And I went by there, and I out loud said as I passed him, I was like, Jesus, about fucking time. I mean, seriously, I felt like a sort of a sigh of relief, because I'd even somewhat fantasized about going and picking up the garbage myself. I just didn't want to have to bother with potentially stepping on AIDS needles or broken glass or disturbing someone who lived there, whatever the case may be. But seeing that there was a big crew of guys who had industrial garbage bags and gloves and all the right equipment, it was like a bittersweet thing, because it was just first of all, why'd that take so long? And second of all, thank you for doing it. Which I realized the city's a big place. Charlie, stop. He is the worst. He's eating all this garbage. Charlie, we're at DeKalb Avenue now. Just passed by the bridge. It's the intersection of, I guess, Oakdale. Oh, fuck. Charlie, come here. Distracting me. Charlie. Alright, I think we're good to go now. Jaywalking. I learned the etymology today of jaywalking. A jay used to be like a slanderous term for just like an idiot, just a general idiot. And so if you were jaywalking, I guess it just meant like you were being stupid for crossing the street when you weren't supposed to. And so that's where that comes from. And so I just jaywalked across the road. Charlie, come on. But anyway, the city's on the rise. Things are good. Streets are being fixed. There's also several areas on my commute where the road is in disrepair, but has recently been attended to, which is nice. Nice to see progress and nice to see people fixing things that are broken. I've also heard that there's some sort of initiative for the city to spend like $250 million and fix the infrastructure of the roads inside of the city. Which, I mean, I really think I need to buy a house sometime soon. I was talking to a coworker the other day, and he was encouraging me to just go ahead and just bite the bullet when I have the resources in place and it's possible to get a house. I should not really make any more excuses to not do it. And I think he had a good point, and it was nice to hear him say that. He's only a couple years older than I am. And he was basically just saying that, you know, you can make excuses until the end of time to do or to not do something. But ultimately, you either have to do it or not do it. And if you are sort of leaning one way rather than the other, just go ahead and do it. Whichever way you're leaning, or don't. And so it's good advice. And I think Atlanta is poised to become a much more expensive city in the future. So if nothing else, buying something right now or in the near future, which I plan to, would probably be a good investment no matter what it was, just because it will probably sharply increase. I mean, we've already got filming going on here with like Walking Dead and all the movie stuff that's going on a daily basis, and then we've got things like the Beltline and how big of a project that is, and all the areas in Atlanta that are going to be united. And Charlie, stop. Going to be going to have their values increased because of the Beltline being in their area. It's a good time to be in Atlanta right now, because nothing is inaccessible. I guess it's one of the cheaper cities in the United States, and it's a pretty fun place to be. It's weird if I think about it, living here full time. It's interesting because I grew up in Lilburn, small town kind of place. I enjoyed it. It wasn't like awful. I would never say that I hated living in Lilburn. It was definitely boring sometimes because I was living with my parents, and I think when you're a kid, just without that full level of freedom to just kind of do whatever you want to do, and the restriction that comes with that kind of invites boredom into your life. But living in the city, it's fun. I enjoy it. I think it fits my lifestyle well, and I think Atlanta is a good city to live in because it's not overwhelming. Like it's got the most trees of any city, I think, in the United States. And so by that measure alone, it just doesn't really feel very, there's not like a ton of buildings that are blocking the sky. I mean, there are those areas in Atlanta, but they're few and far between. Charlie, come on. So, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of rambling now. The wind seems to be picking up too, so I might call it quits here in a sec. Walking by wall crawlers right now. The crawling gym close to where I live. My friend might even be here. Ben Wills. Let's take a look. Go around the perimeter. I don't see his bike or his car, so he may not be here. Yeah, doesn't look like it. Anyway, whatever. Shout out to Ben. I've obviously still been listening to a lot of Comedy Bang Bang. Probably about to get back to that here soon. just love that show so much, and try to inject as much of its influence into Weekend Review as possible. But honestly, the shows are just too dissimilar. I mean, we don't have guests that are coming on every episode that are of the same stature as Comedy Bang Bang does, so it would be hard to copy that show completely, but there's no doubt that I try to insert things into Weekend Review when it seems appropriate, spur of the moment kind of thing. Charlie, come on. Jeez, all the things he's eaten on this walk because I'm not paying enough attention to him. It's infuriating because he'll probably end up throwing them up on our bed later tonight. So, I suppose on that note, Charlie, I'll go ahead and sign off for now. Charlie, come on. So thanks for listening. This is Jesus Charlie. Charlie and I coming to you live, and we'll talk to you again later this week. Right, Charlie? Charlie? Good morning. You're listening to Jesus Charlie. It's a Saturday morning, March 21st. It's about 11:35, and Erica and I are just, doing our Saturday thing. Charlie's here too. I usually do this segment, which just so happens to be a little something I like to call Song of the Week. 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 So, Erica's upstairs taking a shower, so in order to be able to do this without it being too loud, I'm downstairs drinking coffee, turning off Wait, Don't Tell Me. And this week, wanted to talk about a band. I actually currently don't have any internet, so I'm doing this kind of old school style. I've got a piece of paper here with my notes on it. Erica and I are able to get internet from the clubhouse that is close to our unit here at our complex. And recently they had some water damage. And so they had to disconnect everything, and they're doing a bunch of work in there. And part of disconnecting everything included turning off the internet and the TV, which is kind of sad because obviously Eric and I don't have internet and we enjoy internet, but also we don't have access to the TV for our Sunday night rituals of watching Walking Dead. That's definitely a bummer because that's something that I think both of us look forward to. And I'm really tempted to just go in there and put everything back together, but we have a pretty conscientious little community here at our complex, so I think if I were to do that, I feel like an email would be sent out and it'd be like, please identify yourself, whoever put this stuff back together, and why you did that. I don't want a public shaming like that. Sip of coffee. So in the meantime, we're reverting back to the times of the caveman, and we are using things like paper. We're going places. I guess this will inadvertently get us out. Erica and I have a pretty nice little bastion of comfort here. Charlie's telling me he wants to go outside. Hey, little Char-Char. But without access to the internet, our abilities to do stuff definitely is decreased. So I think today will be a nice day. It's nice and sunny currently. It's supposed to get really bad and rainy and cloudy and everything, but at least for the time being, it's nice to be awake and with an eye towards some sort of fun for today. So without further ado, we're looking at Pedro the Lion, their album Control, and a song called, what is it called? Second Best. Pedro the Lion is a band I've liked for a long time. I can remember listening to Pedro the Lion a lot in high school. I had another one of their albums, the album that came after this one, called Achilles Heel. And I would listen to that a lot while I showered and stuff at night. And it's really, really deep music, pretty singable. The singer doesn't use a lot of vibrato in a way similar to Cake. Doesn't use vibrato very much, so it's just simple sung notes that are sustained that you can pretty easily harmonize with. Pay to the Line was formed in 1995. Another 90s band. They're from Seattle, Washington, that is. And the band is headed by David, I want to say Bazan, because I think that his name will probably have like long A sounds, but it could be Bazan or Bazan. Probably Bazan, actually. I think that's what I've heard. But I really like Pay to the Line because I always heard that they were a Christian band. And I guess I had this kind of confirmed yesterday when I was doing my research, but I don't think that they use that as like a hindrance for the quality of their lyrics or their music, which is cool. David Bazan uses like words like "come" in his songs, and I don't think he ever says "fuck," but maybe he does. But it's just like a lot more realistic, even if he is singing with like sort of a Christian overtone or undertone rather. And this song that I'm choosing from Control is called Second Best, and it's just a very powerful song. It's I was listening to it one day going to record Weekend Review with Jake, and it's one of the longest songs that Pay to the Line has, and it's definitely the longest song on the Control album. It's 6 minutes long, and it's just like this really intense, I guess, power ballad, but not really like power ballad like 80s metal band style, but just like in comparison to all the other songs on that album. Control was a concept album, and you can definitely glean that if you're one who listens to lyrics as well as the music. It's about some guy, I think, who's cheating on his wife, and all the songs just kind of capture different elements of that scenario. And a lot of his albums, or at least Achilles Heel and Control both, have a lot of relationship-based songs, but they're pretty dark, I would say. There's like a lot of doubt in his music, and a lot of I don't know. It's like negative self-reflection, I would say. So Control was from 2002, which is interesting, just to kind of get a timeline on that. And I guess that's all my notes. This is the last clip of the episode for this one. I'm going to have to string it together sometime later today. Eric and I are hopefully going to go to maybe Park Grounds with Charlie, or maybe a Hodgepodge or some coffee place with access to the internet. Hey, little Char, you got anything to say? You got anything to say? Taylor, Charlie? Charlie? So with that, without further ado, this is Pay to the Line from their 2002 album, Control, with Second Best. Enjoy your weekend. I certainly will. And coming back to you next week, hopefully we'll have some sort of more permanent solution for this internet situation. But in the meantime, Erica and I will make do, and Charlie will too. Charlie, how you been checking your email, son?
What's wrong with second best?
You've been listening to
A production of
The Podcast Empire. Spread the word.